Hello everyone, my name is Sherifat Omoba. I'm a linguist, a creative writer, an aspiring on-air personality, and a public speaker. Recently, I opened a page called Life of an Ordinary Nigerian. Now, pardon my choice of words, ordinary. I am not in any way trying to segregate the upper class from the lower class. Instead, I am trying to use this to depict the everyday struggles of an average Nigerian. This page would focus on real life issues pertaining to real life events and real life scenarios. It's a big step for me and kind of like a work in progress. So I would appreciate the encouragements and also welcome constructive criticisms. Please feel free to send me a message or just post your stories or send your stories to the page. I would welcome comments because your opinion matters. And from the coming year, I would back up my stories with videos to create a pictorial representation, as I am sure that you would enjoy that more. Okay, I'd just like to give a few illustrations as to the kind of stories I would be putting on. Take for instance, in our everyday going out and coming in, we experience like different things while in transit. There was this one time I was in a bus. It was on top of a bridge, one of these bridges in Lagos. They're very plenty, so I don't know the names. It was a Coal Bridge or Third Mainland. I really can't remember. And then I thought to myself, I remembered something I was taught in school in economics. It had to do with opportunity cost and scale of preference and something like that. And then I wondered, I am here crying or lamenting because I couldn't get the hair I wanted to get to myself. And those kids, I'm sure, don't even know where the next meal is going to come out from. And then it just got me thinking, like, how ungrateful can anyone be? I have a roof over my head. I have a big TV I come home to watch. I sleep well and everything. And there are kids who sleep just very close to, what would I call it? Should I call it the ocean or the sea or the river? I don't even know what to call it. And then it just got me thinking, like, human wants are insatiable. So these are kind of like the things I want to talk about. And then I think about the ones that happen around us. So we don't have to wait for these big NGOs to come do these things. How about we? How do we give back to society? I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a kid on your street who hasn't eaten, or a kid on your street who doesn't have books for school, or a kid on your street who doesn't have ticket to go to school. I've had things like that happen to me in transit. I'll be on the road and some kid will walk up to me and be like, "Auntie, and please, I lost money. Can you give me money?" One time it happened, and then I asked the girl. The girl said the money she had on her, she wanted to use it to buy pasta. The stepmom had sent her to buy pasta on her way back from school from the markets, and then she had misplaced her transport. I said, okay, why not use the money your stepmom gave you to buy pasta to go home and then tell your stepmom you misplaced your ticket? She said no, and from the look on her face, it was obvious that her stepmom would kill her if she goes home without the pasta. And then I said, okay, don't worry. And then I bought the pasta for her because we were standing very close to somewhere that had a small mini market close by. And then I entered the same keke I entered. She entered with me, and she had a little sister with her. That one was very small. I mean, the girl that I'm talking to is small, but then the other one was really very small. And then I'm just wondering, like, God, some of us don't know how lucky we are. All through my primary to secondary school and all, my dad picked me up. Okay, to primary school, my dad picked me up from school. And then secondary school, I went to a boarding school. Even during my holidays, when I was 16 and leaving secondary school, my dad still came to pick me from school. And then there's this kid who's barely, maybe she's 3 or thereabouts, and my other sister who's like 6 or thereabouts is taking her to school, and they don't have money, meaning that before they asked me, I'm sure they must have asked other people, or maybe I was the first person they approached. And I did that, and I just thought, like, things like this happen. Like, I remember this time there was this issue of fuel scarcity and fuel increase in fuel prices. And then I bought roasted plantain, what's it called, bole, in the bus. And after eating it, I noticed that it had been wrapped with a newspaper. So I just opened the paper. I like to read a lot, and I get things easily catch my eye. And also I just saw the paper and wanted to look at it. And there's this man, I don't know who it was then, so forgive me, my dad has been encouraging me to pay more attention to the news. I never knew why he was doing that. I was always upset. Now I know why he was always doing that. If I was listening to the news or watching Channels TV more than I watch my DSTV or one of those channels on DSTV that show movies, I'm sure I would know that I am about to talk about. I'm sure I would know the position he was occupying. I think it was Kachiku or something, some minister or something. Anyway, that's not the point. It's not about the man, it's about the story. I saw where they were trying to explain the hike in fuel prices. I know, and I saw all this explanation about why fuel had suddenly gone from 80 something naira per liter and gone up to like 100 and something naira. And then I saw the many explanations they tried to do and how they tried to justify it and all the many things they said. I didn't understand it. And then it occurred to me like, okay, even I that is illiterate, I went to school. I graduated from the University of Benin. I am educated. I am enlightened. I still couldn't understand that. So how do you explain to an ordinary market woman that this is the reason why the fuel price has gone on? Because when I look at 140 something, what comes to my mind is like, fuel has increased. When it wasn't twice the price. That's not how it was calculated. It wasn't. But in my mind's eye, all I have to do is times 80 times 2 and I will arrive at maybe 160 something, and the fuel is like 140 something. So I just assumed that okay, it was almost twice the price, twice the previous price. But that's not really what it was. And then so I told myself, if I cannot understand it, as literate as I like to think I am, how do you explain to the woman that sells tomato in the markets that fuel price did not really increase to twice the price? I know it just went up like by a certain percentage and one thing. So long story short, I decided that I was going to bring in stuffs like this and talk about them on my page. And God willing, in time, I pray it strengthens me. I intend to go to see people, to go to the market, to talk to market women, sample opinions on things that are going on around us. Now, when we watch the TV and all of that, they pay a lot of attention to global issues. They talk about things that are happening in the international community and on and on and on and on. How about the things that are happening around us? You know, just around us. There are so many things happening, like just around us. I'm sure if you look to your next neighbor, there are so many things going on. So we don't even need to go that far. I don't want to go globally. I want to talk about us, like you and I. So I want to focus on home issues. What's the word? Grassroots. Yeah, that's the word. And hence the title of my page, The Life of an Ordinary Nigerian. The everyday struggles of a Nigerian. The things you see. Sometimes I was in the car one time with a friend, and there was this kid who came up and he was trying to clean the wind, what do they call it? The car, whatever. I know, and he had this, I'm not sure she remembers. I am sorry for saying this. I'm not going to mention your name. I know, but I hold it. It's still a grudge. She didn't want to pay him. And then when I asked why, she was like, she didn't ask him to do it. I'm like, do you think this kid wants to do this? He doesn't want to do this. He's supposed to be in school. He was very little. The way he jumped on top of you need to see the way he threw himself on top of the car bonnet. I was surprised. If I throw myself that way on the car bonnet, I'm sure I would land on the ground and the tires would, God forbid, I shouldn't get to that part. But it was really upsetting to see that she didn't even see the bigger picture. Like, this child just wanted to eat. I'm sure that's why he was doing this. He's supposed to be in school, but he's trying to get his next meal. Hence, instead of begging, he's doing this. He worked for it. He deserved to be paid. If you didn't want it, from what I know, when we drive cars around, I know if someone is trying to do that to your windscreen, I know you just signal. There's a way you do your wiper, I know you signal because you don't want them to do it, and they back off. But this one, she didn't do it. She didn't give him anything to do it, and then she refused to pay him. So I was really angry, and then I just told the kid to come to me. She was like, give him money now since you're doing Mother Teresa. I'm like, no, this is not about Mother Teresa. No, it's just the guilt. I'm going to go back home now, and maybe I have turkey or chicken in the fridge to eat, and I am an ordinary Nigerian. And I have, and this child doesn't. So I just said, okay, babe, I don't have change on me. I have just $1,000 in my purse. Okay, please just give this child something. I will give it to you when we get home. Well, I'll wait to my place. And then she said no, she wasn't going to. So I wrote down and gave the child the 1,000 naira I had on me because I did not have any option. That was actually my very, 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 very last penny that I had that day. And I'm being honest, I gave it to him, and I was so upset that I didn't want to speak to her. So some other child, we were stuck in traffic, echo traffic. I know my Lagosians we understand it. So there was this other child who came up to the window again and was begging and just doing auntie and all. And then she was like, Mother Teresa, give this one. And then she said, why, this one even looked older than the one who cleaned our car for us. And then I said no, because this one is begging. That one worked for it. That was why I felt that guilty. He worked for it, so he deserved to have been paid for it. This one did it, and the matter of fact is I don't even have any money to give him anymore. So things like that, you know, I find that when I go back home, it disturbs my head. I worry about it. I can't sleep at night because I think about some kid that I passed on the road who looked really hungry or who begged me for food. I don't know. He does so many things to my head. Now, I'm always in the habit of going to orphanage homes or doing the little that I can in my own very little small way, and or help out in my own very little small way. And then I decided that, okay, what can I do to bring plights like this to the limelight, or into the spotlight, and not make people pay more attention to little things like this. I know one time I was in a taxi I was coming from Lagos, and then my brother came to pick me up in a taxi from the park, and while we're in the car, we noticed policemen at the front side. We noticed them ahead, I know. And when we got to where they were, they insisted that my brother should give them his phones, I know, and he gave his phones, and he kept going through it. I'm like, and then in my mind I was just boiling. But then, you know, the fear of our police, of our officers of the law, they are trigger happy. Nobody really wants to. I don't want to be dead meat. I really do not want to die. I'm yet to enjoy my life. I'm not even married yet. I don't have kids yet. So I did not want to confront an officer by saying, excuse me, sir, this is wrong, or start preaching. I did not study law in school. I did not want to start talking about how wrong this is, or oh God, no, officer, you shouldn't be doing this. Why would you ask me to bring my phone? I didn't want to do all of that because I did not want the officer to be, I don't know. I wouldn't want him to hit me or do something to me. They do that. We see it every day, I know. And then I just thought, what can I do? You know, what if I had secretly maybe recorded the policeman asking my brother to give him money after checking his phones and not finding anything incriminating, insisted that I bring my phone? I would have lost it right there. No, I would have started speaking all the many grammar that I know how to speak or that I do not know how to speak, telling him about all my many fundamental human rights and how wrong it was, and how I have stuffs on my phone I don't want him to see. Maybe I have private messages from my boyfriend, or maybe I even have pictures of myself on my phone and I don't want him to see it. So you can't just ask me to give you my phone, my private property that I bought with my money, and then tell me you want to go through it because you're looking for what? I'm sure there are other measures that have been put in place to arrest youths who they think are into one vice or the other. That's not my place to say, but the whole phone thing is not an incident. There was an incident that happened in Lagos, so I heard, and a boy was shot dead on the spot just because he refused to do this. Now the dead do not speak. That he's not even alive to defend himself. And also all of that, please, if you have experiences like this, please feel free to put it on my page. Let's talk about it. Let us share it. One time I had this kid who walked up to me. I wanted to sell me mineral, and then it was like, normally, you know, when you see them selling mineral, they'll be like, Fanta, buy Coke, cold Coke here, cold Fanta, Gala, and all of that. But this kid, he was little. I don't know what is it with my obsession with children. I'm always coming across them. I know. He was like, Auntie, please buy Coke. He didn't speak Pidgin. His English was fluent. It was clean. His English was what caught my attention. I was like, Auntie, don't you want Coke? I said no. Okay, don't you want Fanta? Auntie, what of Chapman or something? I think there's this drink, this smooth something. I know. I really like that particular drink. And then I noticed the way he was speaking. Auntie, are you sure you really don't want to buy? I am not used to that. I am used to buy Coke here, buy your gala here, and stuff like that. So when I saw a kid approach me and was telling me, Auntie, are you sure you don't want to buy this Coke? Are you sure you don't want to buy this Fanta? Something in me just, you know, I was still doing my NYSC then in Abeokuta. It happened in Ogun State. And then something in me just clicked, or ticked rather. I'm like, okay, this one should be in school. This one should be in school. What is he doing here? So I asked him, why are you not in school? He said, my mom, I have to do this. I can't remember. It's like many years back. I can't remember what he said. And then I took the money, and then I think I gave him maybe $500 or whatever, but I can't remember. And I said, take the Coke that I want to buy, take it for yourself and drink it, because the sun was really hot and that child had been hawking, and from the look of his bowl, the bowl on his head, his drinks, it still appeared that his goods were still plenty. He had not made a lot of sales that day. So I said, drink this Coke for yourself, if not for anything, to at least cool is you know, the scorching. Everybody knows in Nigeria how hot the sun can really be. So things like that, I want to talk about them. I want to talk about the time. One time I had this incident with a bus driver. I was standing on the road waiting to cross. A bus that had dropped off some passengers was about to take off, and the conductor was standing on like the edge of the door, you know, the way they usually stand and all, and was calling out passengers, Obalende, CMS, and this guy's hands were stretched, and as he was moving, I know his hands were stretched. I was standing like really close. You know, when they dropped the passengers, they were standing. The bus was like really close to where we're standing. This guy hits me on my boobs. He stretched, his hands were stretched. He just hit me as he was moving. In my anger and frustration, I threw my hand back at him, and all the contents of my bag landed on the floor on an express road. It was in Victoria Island or Zumbamba, the way that road, and all the contents of my bag spilled. My powder broke and everything, and I just held my face like this, like the frustration, the humiliation. The guy actually touched my breast. Yes, his hand. He hit me, and it was going. There was no taxi in place, like a free taxi. I was just looking around. My mind was like, okay, I would just get a free taxi and pursue this guy till I catch up to him and stop in front of the bus and just be ranting. And I'm like, if I'm just ranting like a madman, somebody would just tell me, nah, Nigeria, and that's what they do, anti-pack your things. And that is my problem. Why are we okay with this? Why are we okay with things like this? Why are we okay with Nigeria we day? Why are we okay with Lena? You know, nothing Nigeria be this. Why are we okay with people doing these things and getting away with it because we're in Nigeria? Are you saying that we're encouraging or we welcome lawlessness because in Nigeria? Are you saying Nigeria is synonymous with lawlessness? No, there should be law and order in our society. It starts, we keep blaming the government. It starts from you and I. We each individually, we all have our roles to play. You have your role to play. I have my role to play. It's not just the government. Yes, the government is a huge integral part of it. We'll get to that part later. But for now, it starts from you and I. Because someday, I would grow up and decide that I want to go for one councillor, wanting in my village. Start from maybe grassroots politics and then build my way up. But if my orientation, or what should I call it now, is nothing to write home about now, when I get to the top place, I will still do what the people there now they are doing. It is the same thing. It's just an unending circle of lawlessness. So it starts from you and I. Let's start watching what we do. I know. Now that guy just hit my boobs, my very precious breast. Sorry, I'm saying that. And got away with it. It happens. And then this time, in this bus, I was coming from the company, my former workplace where I used to work. American International Insurance Company, ICO. I was coming from the office. I was in the bus. As usual, I'm always in the habit of jumping buses. Yes. And then this conductor, I had paid him. It was during Ramadan time. I know, I think we were observing the fast then. I had given him his fare, his money. It was time for him to give me my change. I think my change was like 20 naira or 30 naira, thereabouts. Now he refused. He didn't want to. I had asked like 3 or 4 times because they're always in the habit of holding on to your change, and then you end up forgetting it when you want to come down from the bus. So I kept saying, "Conductor, my change," and he was like, "Hey, they come now until they come." I said, "Well, conductor, give me my change. I go soon drop. I go soon come down." And then later he just said, "Now 13 naira, now you just drag like this, like saying, there was a way he said it." I know. Now say conductor, knowing fully well that if I was 10 naira short, just 10 bucks short, and I had begged this guy to carry me, he would not have carried me. My money wasn't complete. Now my money is complete and I've paid him. He doesn't want me to take my change because he feels like I am a fine girl. I fix human hair. I'm wearing nice makeup. I smell nice. I'm wearing nice clothes. I should leave my 13 naira. Heaven will come down first before I leave my 10 naira for a bus conductor. A nasty one at that. I would not, even if it was 5 naira, I would collect it and buy water with it. He didn't. And then the next thing he just said, nah, I 10 naira you did drag or one. I don't know what he said. And the driver in front just said, what did he say? Not mind all this lasso. Okay, I think the conductor flung the money at me straight, and then the driver was like, it happened all so quickly, like it happened really fast. And the conductor just said, not mind all these lasso girls. And so all these ashawo lasso girls, and so that they do. I do not like that word, ashawo. You know, guys are always so quick. It happens in our marketplaces. It happens in marketplaces where you look good and one thing, it's easy for these boys. They'll just pull your hand and drag you and be like, I will say one thing and all. Initially, it used to get to me, especially when I just came to Lagos. I was in the JJC and I was like, don't touch me. What's me? Are you mad? Are you stupid? Until someone told like, they beat you in this market. All this your grandma and everything. Before anybody will come and rescue you, they would have done, you know, like amazing things to you. I know. Before you, so now I just ignore them. Even if you pull my hand, or see, once you want to pull my hand, I'll just struggle, leave my hand and keep moving. I know you say what you want to say. And see, there was one day who made a nasty comment. Maybe to him it was a compliment about my body. Like, I can't wait to do this to you. I know. So when the man just said, the driver just said, all these last two Ashawo girls, I lost it. As I was sitting directly behind the driver with my two hands like this. I just clapped on his ears. The slap, I hit him from the back and all. So I forgot I was driving, although we were really slow because there were cars in front and all. As I was trying to turn and all, the conductor just wanted to get up. Thank God there were two strong men sitting. I was sitting close to the window. There were two strong men sitting right beside me. So those ones just provided the blockage that I needed to dodge the blows, and I'm very good at that. If not, they would have beaten me black and blue inside that bus. Because while the driver was from the front trying to throw his hand and do it, use one hand to drive the car and turn back and hit me, his conductor was struggling to, and I was throwing, as the guys were blocking me, I was just trying to like stretch my hand and hit them. But that's how they can drive you. That's how, you know, if anyone had told me that I would do that or encounter such that day, I wouldn't have believed. But that's what they do to you. They drive you nuts. I know. So I didn't know there was this woman who was driving a white Range Rover Evo or something that was behind me. I think from, I don't know how she saw it, but she could see what was going on in the bus. So when the guys held the conductor, they came down. I just came down. The woman just opened her car and gesticulated that I go in, and I went in. And then she explained what she was asking what happened, and I said the conductor didn't want to give me my change. I wanted to beat me inside the bus, and she just said, don't worry. She seemed like a very enlightened person and all. And then she kept driving behind the bus and got to a part where she saw two soldiers who had stopped in front of a filling station. So I went to meet them and said, excuse me sir, some conductor is harassing me in the car and is trying to beat me up. See why I like our Nigerian soldiers. I love soldiers. I like soldiers. I know. And then they just said, okay, they just got on the bike and told me to enter the car, and they used their bike and they were following this car. And already I think the bus driver had sensed it, or people had told him. He somehow managed to divert through another route and took another place, and we didn't see him. These soldiers went to like a traffic spot, stopped at a traffic stop and stopped all the buses, and they were asking me to identify. God, I felt like someone with power. That now I know how those people feel at the top. I was feeling very powerful, like yes, some justice at last. Not that I wanted that guy to be beaten up, or I know that the soldiers would definitely have beaten him up, so he would know that it's not nice when you try to harass a helpless woman. But at the same time, you know, it feels good just knowing that, okay, you know, the cry for help you gave, someone responded to it and all. And then they checked a few buses, and we realized that guy was long gone. He had taken another route, and that's why I got in the car. And now, say the reason I brought this up. This woman told me the reason she stopped was because her brother-in-law, her husband's younger brother, one time had this encounter with the conductor as well. And while they were all dragging for their change and all of that, the conductor hits the brother. And then in retaliation, the brother-in-law hit the conductor, and the conductor died on the spot. He just fell down and died. That thing took months in the police station, and the intervention of the other passengers who followed up the case and kept going to follow it up before the brother-in-law was released. If not, he would have been charged to court for murder. You can imagine how sometimes these things can push you into doing things. So, all of this are some of the examples or kinds of stories that I will be putting on my page, and then some other more realistic things. We'll get to some other bigger, you know, more interesting things as time goes on. Some will be funny, but I know that it promises to be interactive. Let's talk. I like to talk. Let's debate. Let's talk. Let's communicate. Bring your stuff while I put mine. Encourage me. Criticize my work. It's welcome. Teach me to grow. And how to build on my page, and hopefully maybe by this time next year it will be a big deal, and I would always remember how you all were with me and how you carried me up. So please thank you for listening to this very long sermon. My sister is becoming very impatient. Her hands are paining now. I have to go off now. Thank you for taking your time to listen to this. Forgive any blunders, any grammatical errors whatsoever of any kind, and please just enjoy the story. Thank you.